Hi, you guys. Oh my gosh, I've been gone too long. If I had my way, I would record what I'm doing every single night because I love doing it, and I don't know, I just would love to share it, I guess. I guess that is hopeful that you would want to watch it every night or however often. But when I'm talking to you, it helps me stay focused on what I'm doing, and it helps me complete projects. Tonight, I would like to share with you my quilted heavyweight March. I mean, I guess I'm calling it March, but today is March 7th, and this is already like full. I mean, there's a few more pages, but maybe it's March phase 1. I make a lot of journals for myself. I go through them very, very quickly. When I make the effort to make a quilted cover, I have a tendency to want to spend more time in it. So I think they're kind of my favorite, but really, I was laughing with a friend recently that pretty much every journal that I make becomes my new favorite. So because I'm loving the feel of this quilted cover, I did start a new one for the rest of March. And I know Easter isn't for a long time, but I have this amazing fabric with the little ducklings on it. And I have this amazing vintage, I think it's reproduction fabric, but it's still very old. And I'm putting it together. I've already quilted these little triangles on, and then it was a wonky piece of fabric I just was playing the other night, and I quilted them together. And as you can see, the triangles are so small because they were part of like a baby quilt that some folks made. These were what was left over. And, you know, when I'm sewing it, the tension pulls hard enough that they kind of separated from each other. But there's something I love about, you know, the imperfections. I mean, there's something that's bothering me about it too, but I considered putting rickrack over it, but I figured if I don't use this for myself and I end up selling it because it's so darn cute, you know, the way that I sell my journals is they're in a state with which you can then make them whatever you want. I wouldn't necessarily call them naked because they're not like blank journals, you know, they have illustrations and book pages and things. But of course, any journal that you buy, you make your own. So definitely rickrack can still be put on here or more trim. I've not attached any of this yet, so it's not permanent. I mean, other than the triangles. But I don't know. I'm kind of excited about that one. And I love this little duckling fabric that I think is like a reproduction of the 1930s flour sack, as far as I can tell. Anyway, that one's exciting, so I thought I would just share that a little bit. Oh, and I have to decide. I do want to do a button in the middle, and I have narrowed it down. You know, I've gone through hundreds of buttons. I've narrowed it down to either this fabric, vintage one, or this fabric, like satiny fabric one. And I can't decide. I think it's this one because I don't want to take away from, I was going to say I don't want to take away from the detail of these triangles, but it's already quite busy. So it all just kind of goes together. But I think that's the winner. Let me know if you like this one better. Maybe I'll put a quiz at the end of the video because YouTube does that now. I'm excited about that. Anyway, after hundreds of button searching, those were the two I narrowed it down to. I'm excited about a couple new desk mates that I have with me tonight. This is this one. I got it at a little thrift store. Someone else made it. I wish I could say I did. And it's like a little dove, right? On a spool of thread that is The store had put their sticker on it, so it pulled some of it off, but it is an old wooden spool of this lovely rose, dusty rose color. Isn't she cute? So she's sitting with me to watch tonight. And then this was at the same store. Look at this rusty, crusty little girl. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. You tend to think that the blue was made for a little boy, and it's showing off its little midriff. So I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't named him yet. I'm going to put some pictures up on Instagram of my desk mates, because in my Etsy shop I have a section category called desk mates, and I thought maybe with my videos I could say, you know, here's who's joining me tonight. This guy has joined me several times, but they're, you know, desk mates are all around the room. They can be part of a trinket shelf, or you know, any kind of collection. I have a couple other little guys over here. I don't know. Can you see them? These guys. There's this old owl here that came in a sewing box that I got at an estate sale. And I think he's old, but because his eyes, I don't want to take him out of here or everything will kind of fall apart. And then my sister-in-law made me this squishy cloud of love. Those guys are always watching. So yeah, I thought I would just, many influencers who I watch, in particular the Vintage Journal, and some others like her, they have a lovely setup that's part of the backdrop of their videos, and I don't really have that. I have you looking down. But I wanted you to know that there's little visitors with us while we're journaling. Okay, so yes, this one, I did share it on Instagram and some Facebook groups, and I had a dear friend who I have met through this YouTube channel, actually, ask for a flip through of this one. So I was surprised I hadn't done that already, but it's not totally done. It is my personal. It's not one that I'm making to sell. If you like it, though, let me know, and I'll work on some more of these quilted covers. There are, maybe there's just one right now. No, there's 2 quilted cover journals on my Etsy shop already, and I am planning to do full flip throughs for this channel of those, just because I never did. There are short videos on my Etsy shop of those, but a full flip through on here would be fun, because they're really fun journals too. But I guess I call it a scrappy quilt, scrappy. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the words now that like official quilters would call it. Patchwork, you know. But I don't actually quilt the pieces. I don't fold the pieces together and quilt them. I just messily put it on a piece of batting and send it through my machine. I mean, not totally messy, because I do, you know, organize it by color, but I do often send it through the machine, just closing my eyes and hoping it comes out cool. And it always does, so I shouldn't be scared. Take a drink here. I get so nervous at first. Oh. Okay, deep breaths. Anyway, I love this one. There are some very old fabrics in here that came from the Hazel estate sale. My favorite estate sale that I've ever been to, because she was a sewist and a quilter, and so was her mother, her grandmother, and I think her mother-in-law or her aunt, or maybe all of them, I'm not sure, but she had quite a collection of gorgeous fabrics, and I have a huge bunch of very, very antique calico fabrics, indigos and cranberries, but for this one, I just stuck with these. I think these might be reproduction feed sack patterns as well, because they don't feel like what I know to be feed sack, but I know these patterns were feed sack patterns. So I can't exactly tell, because they all came to me in small scraps. There's no other way to really decide if it's feed sack or not. And then, of course, this was the ribbon that came from my Sunbonnet Sue quilt that I've shown a couple times here. I promise that I will have some cutter quilt segments of the Sunbonnet Sue very soon. I'm kind of waiting for some warmer, sunshiny days so it can have one more hang outside, just to get a little bit more vibrancy to the color. But anyway, I love the teal. This is actually a brad. Oh, I covered the inside already. That I thrifted somewhere. This fabric I got at an antique store with a mix of fabrics. I don't know if it's old or not. I think it is, because I can't find it in new books. But and let's see, this was from my mother-in-law, and this was thrifted from the Goodwill outlet bins. And these other neutral browns might have been also. They're so small I can't always tell anymore where they came from. But anyway, I just I quilted it, sewed it onto some batting like this, and I did put a little bit of cardboard underneath the batting as well, because I wanted to be sure that the cover opened and could hold something substantial. So it was just like it was a piece of cracker box packaging that is underneath the batting. Oh, there it is. This green bit here is underneath the batting. So I just sewed right through the batting and the cardboard. And then I glued the cardboard and the batting, to this, mailer package. I just like the color of it and the feel of it and the squishiness. It does have, bubble. Part of it is bubbly. I've not finished this back bit yet, but this is what the inside of the front cover looked like too. So it's got a great sound and a great feel, and it's just wonderful. And I can certainly, I could have certainly made a quilted cover for the whole thing, and I've done that with some other books. I didn't, because I had no plan, as usual, when I went into making this rectangle. I didn't know if I was going to use it for a cover or for something else, similar to how I just kind of went and finally put all these tiny little triangles together. I just find a wonky piece of backing of some sort. This batting just happened to be in a pile next to me, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to put these colors together, because I have so many of them and I want them all to have a wonderful home, not in a baggie by my side. So but then it did turn into the cover, and then I kind of liked how this looked. Like, it reminded me of covering school textbooks with grocery bags when, we were young in elementary school and middle school. And like, the color reminded me of that, and the size of the spine. I don't know. And then for my binding for this one, I did do, again, my... this is a terrible representation of it, but I did do my glued... no, not glued. Tape hinged pages, but I was experimenting with how to attach the binding, because what I want it to be able to do always is open flat. And so the spine has to have enough give. And if I use Fabri-Tac to attach this spine portion to the taped together pages, sometimes it gets really hard, and then there isn't as much give. However, I have learned doing this one that I would rather have just attached it to the taped pages and dealt with it, because this became kind of messy here. But it's still holding, you know, it still all holds together, and you know, it's not, all the pages still hold. I did attach the cover on the back just by gluing. You can see that's already coming off because it doesn't stick to the plastic well, but I just glued this this lovely piece of paper from Sweet Pea Curiosities, one of her digital files, to another piece of brown paper packaging that was sturdier. And then that is what I attached back here. You can kind of see, like I said, it's a mess. I was just kind of experimenting with different ideas, but it holds. And for my purposes, I definitely do not want perfection. So, on the front though, I did do, this is that sturdier packaging paper, and I did tape it to the bulk of the innards and then glued it to the packaging layer. You can't really see it. And so the front cover is holding better than the back cover is, but you know, it's not a science. I just play. I just put my papers together because I want a place to journal, and how they end up staying together is a mystery when I start. And I hope that it turns out strong, and then I try to make some that I can sell that are even better based on what I've experimented with. So you can see that they're all holding good and strong, but I mean, there's little pieces falling out, but it's you know, it's not ideal, but you can open it at any place and it will stay pretty much flat open, so that you can write on it, or you know, you can have tons of bulk in it and it still lays relatively flat throughout. So okay, that's all the boring how I put it together part. No, it isn't. I'm going to keep talking about all of that, as you know, as I go through. So this is an antique hanky that I got at an antique store a long time ago, and I used a portion of it for a book that I made for a donation, and I had just this beat up raggedy piece in my collection, and I just love it. I don't know if you can really tell anymore, but it's like a basket of flowers, and I love the colors. And then I have this other fabric that might be feed sack, I'm not sure, and I just used it here to cover some blemishes, and then made this one into a belly band pocket, and then I put this coral colored lace along here just because I just liked it. And then most of this is all junk, the way I always do my journals, but I've covered almost every single page. You can't even see what each page was originally. Like this, for instance, you can't tell that it's packaging and cardboard and under there really anymore, except that I pull it apart to show you. And this obviously you can tell is packaging, but this was just like, I don't know, a leaf page. I've used some different scrap papers that I have, some different fabrics that I've collected to make into ruffles. This is tea-dyed paper underneath here that I then wrote on, and a little illustration from Wildflowers of Scandinavia. This was a book that was really broken down when I got it, so I coffee dyed it. And the illustrations are just cute. I forget what it's called, Tasty Betsy or something like that. sometimes the little girls look mad, and they're not mad in the story, so I don't really know why that is, but I think it's funny. So that's just a bit, and these are kind of held together with some tissue paper over the tape. Again, just a little collage of things here. Lots of bits of 2 different digital files from Sweet Pea Curiosities. They're both called Artist Mixed Media Papers, I think. But one is the pinks. This is just the first one that she did, just the mixed media, and then you'll see some of the pink later in the book. I had a gift certificate to a craft store from Christmas, and I don't buy a lot of things at retail shops. I go to full retail, mass-produced shops. I go to thrift stores and antique stores, and I try to reuse and repurpose everything. But I did have this gift certificate, and I was excited to get some brand new stickers and washi, and I think that's all that I bought was stickers and washi. Oh, and I got some Tim Holtz items. I bought his these small scrap pieces. And, of course, I did end up buying his aged tape, which really is fantastic. I have made my own. I highly support making your own and checking out the tutorials on how to do that because it's so cool. But because I was there and had the gift certificate to do it, I bought it, and it's great. I have used it a couple times in this book that you'll see. Okay, this is supposed to go right here. I was excited to show you another thing that I thrifted was officially the Swingline Top 50 stapler. Look at this. Isn't it adorable? I know that there's a Tim Holtz version and there's probably some other newer versions. I never would have bought it for myself. I have other staplers that I love, but I have my dad's old Swingline, and I just thought it was fun to get the Top 50. And it's like brand new. I'm not sure it's ever been used. Came in a little kit with 1,000 free staples. And then I thought, well, this is a little piece of ephemera that we would pay to find inside of a collection of ephemera. So that somehow goes there. Of course, I won't be able to get it to go there again. And then, like I said, I got this group of scraps, which are also really nice. It is very hard for me to want to cut these up to use bits of it. I mean, you can use them however you want, but I, of course, will hardly ever buy something brand new like this. So I want it to last forever. I want to hoard all the special things. But I just love how he's put these together. I mean, he's a fantastic artist, right? So he and his team have put together these collages that are just amazing. So then what I did do to it, though, because they come with just a white background. So it's these glorious collage. Oh, gosh, I don't remember what he called them. I might have the part of the package. I used part of the package in this book, but collage strips. Ideology. And it's a lot of them you get in there, and it's all these different color schemes: peach, green, blue, purple. This isn't all of them, but it's some that I have right in front of me. But they're all white on the back, which I haven't done it yet, but his new scrap papers out are double-sided, which is so special. I love to find double-sided scrap paper. But so what I did to the white side of this is, oh, this is going to be a long story. When I make my master boards, no, let me start over. when I print off digital files, mostly free stuff, except I've bought those couple from Sweet Pea Curiosities. This one I printed off from Artsy Fartsy Life, and it's her graphically designed dogs compilation, which she has a million on there, different themes, and she does offer them for free, and you can use them. You can use them in your own journals, and you can also use them in journals that you make to sell, which isn't always the case with freebies that the artists send out. The license to use them for sale is not always free, but hers are. Some of it could be AI, some I don't know, and I know that that can be an issue for some people, but I have been doing a lot of dog journals, and if you happen to watch the one that I did for a little boy recently, he loves dogs, and I'm going to make him another one, and there's another little boy that would like one about dogs, and I just thought these were super cute. So her digital files, it comes on a regular sheet of paper. I print it just on regular paper, and then I turn the whole sheet of paper over, and I collage a master board on the back of the digital file. Then I cut out all the shapes that she or the artist has. Here's another one from hers. And I have leftovers. The pieces of the paper that weren't part of the shape are the offcuts. And of course, like many of us, it's hard to get rid of anything that I've put any effort into or that I love. So I keep the offcuts, and then this is where I use them. So I took the offcuts from that project, and I glued them to the back of the Tim Holtz scrap strips. And let's see, I'll show you. I have a couple containers of these, but this is my most recent container for my masterboard offcuts. So here is that really bright in your face? Oh, not too bad. Like some of these might not be too usable, however, you attach them to something, there might be a piece of them that isn't as colorful, but they can be, you can make them into bookmarks. Here's some that I made that are like snippet rolls. Those are in the same box. And then here's other pieces that I'll use to collage the next project. So then I think it was 3 pieces that I used, that I fused together for this particular scrap sheet. This was one full piece, this was a piece, and this was a piece. And I just pushed them together until they fit, and then cut off the extra so that it fit together. And then it makes it like I Mod Podged them, and that kind of makes it like a nice hard, it could be used as a bookmark. So that was that super long story for you. Oh, how did I have that on there? Come on. Oh, my fingers aren't going to work for us for that. So this was another one of hers that I just stapled into this page here. And this is actually from a most recent book that I got at the Goodwill Outlet bins, and it did not smell great when I got it home, which can be an issue sometimes. So I have left it out in the freezing for a long time, and then I did coat it with my favorite fabric refreshing spray, and that seems to have done the trick in this one. It didn't smell that bad, it just wasn't a smell that I love. I love old book smells, but this one had something else to it. But it has some great images. It's called Cherished Objects, Living with and Collecting Victoriana, which has been kind of my obsession lately. It's been a lot of our obsession. So I've cut out a lot of pages of pieces that I can cut into smaller bits for my projects. Aren't these great? And that is where this cute gal came from. But so on the back of her is just something else from the magazine. The book. But I could use some of those offcut pieces on the back of something like this too to make it a little stronger. And I could Mod Podge it to make it less shiny if that was something that you wanted to try. But I just thought she was so cute. And I just tucked her in there. A little image from online that I printed on my little picture printer, which is an HP Sprocket. It's this little guy. And it just has little rectangle sticker sheets in it. And I just print off the things that I love and then put them in here. Little piece of vintage lace that I got somewhere. Oh. Okay, we're still in frame. Now, one of the problems I have with digital files from amazing artists like Sweet Pea Curiosities is when I use them on a page like this, let's see, or this, I have trouble wanting to put anything on top of them because I think they're so beautiful just as they are. It's so hard. I don't want to cover those. I think the collage itself is so fun. So just a reminder that that's all you have to do sometimes to journal is whatever kind of art you like. Maybe it's collage, something that brings you joy to look at. And I just love the art that she's put together for this. This is from, I think, the Coronet magazine from the 1950s. And you can see the page is genuinely brittle. I did not do that distressing. It's ripping. I did some experimenting further in this book with decoupaging old newspapers and stuff to see if they stay strong, and they do. And I have a bit that I can show you in a minute about how that worked. But I also love the tattered, torn, ripped look as well. So I have no problem with it as it is. I love the color of it and the font. All of that is just natural age on that one. This was the envelope from a card that my mom sent to my son, and I just loved the artwork on it. And then this is a sewing pattern tissue paper that I made into a little ruffle. Illustration from a children's book. And, you know, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. It is March now, but they say, I don't know who they is, but they say that February and March can be a couple of the hardest months of the year. You hear a lot of mental health struggles that folks have before December, you know, if they're missing out on family things, or maybe it's stressful to be with family. And then after the new year, you hear about a lot of mental health struggles. But they don't talk as much about February and March, and they really can be a couple of the most difficult months of the year because we're tired of winter, especially where I am in Wisconsin. You know, it's seasonal depression is common, and you know, we're ready for we're ready for spring, or we're getting ready. And it's that time of year where there isn't snow covering all of the dirt. And so it's just it's often dreary, and it can be hard. And I thought this picture was a good representation of that. It's like a little girl looking out a windy, stormy, rainy window. And then I took that little sticker saying that says, "See the good stuff." and then be open to whatever comes next. A reminder to embrace imperfection and just keep going. And then it became a hidden journaling spot, and there's a little sticker here that says positive vibes, positive life to remind me to stay strong. We're getting there. Okay, so this little pocket here, and here's what I wanted to show you where I experimented with decoupaging old paper. So this is antique and vintage scrapbook paper. You could see a little bit of a color difference between the two. That is because I have Mod Podged this one. I used Mod Podge. I might have used satin. It does look kind of shiny, but now I can't remember. I either used the satin or the matte. I've been using the matte a lot more frequently lately, but now I can't remember which one I did. But my experiment was to see if it strengthened this old paper, because I love old scrapbook paper. The color, the feel of it, and the way that it absorbs pen and ink. And but it's very brittle. It tears easily, it breaks easily. And I have these amazing scrapbooks of lots of scrap art like this, and old greeting cards, and gorgeous images, antique and vintage, that are glued on in such a way that I can't successfully get them off with the methods that I'm most comfortable using. Or it's taking more work than maybe I think it's worth. And I can't quite cut it out because the previous owner who did it put a different shape on the back side of it. Now I could trim it down, and then, I could even make it a circle probably in this instance, but many of them are different wonky sizes and shapes and on the front and back. So I thought if I could get it to become a stronger piece of paper with Mod Podge or with whatever kind of decoupage agent you prefer to use, that then these scraps could stay on a piece of scrap paper like this and become a tag. You can put a hole in it pretty safely and put some ribbon in it, and it can be reused with the gorgeous old, especially in this instance, Victorian art. So it didn't change the color dramatically, and in fact enhanced it in some ways. The aged edge and everything. And I mean, I'm still not going to totally bend it and try to break it, but it's a lot stronger than this is. So it could definitely be used. It could also be used in collage, either one of these. So that was my little experiment that I was pleased to share. If you've watched me before, I talked about that a little bit, and I'm really excited about that. Here's a receipt from my favorite store where I get estate sales stuff. Oh, see, I caught it on the edge and this little bit came off. So I'm definitely going to, I have several of these that I've ripped apart that I will strengthen with a decoupage glue. This is a cool, I'm thinking it's 90s trim that I got at Goodwill, and although this isn't a haul video, you guys will like to know this. If you are able to and willing to thrift, my last trip to a Goodwill near me had an entire bin of these wood, I forget what these are called, but these spool thingies that hold different trims and ribbons. I mean, it was a huge bin of them, and they were all $1.99, which the old days of Goodwill, it would have been 99 cents, but it is a lot of trim on every single one of these spools. So it's just a reminder to, you know, keep looking at all your stores. And so this 90s trim on this book was one that came on one of these spools. I wasn't sure if I would like this, but actually the color of this looks good with some of the work that I've been doing lately too. But I really just wanted this one, and I thought, I will spend $1.99 if I want a trim badly enough. I've spent more on some trims. So, yeah, this one was $1.99 and had all 3 of these, which I've used 2 of them in this book. I don't have any red, and this one has these 4 kinds of red. If you can see the difference between these two, this is like a rusty. There's a couple others in here. I don't want to take apart this whole collection here, but I love trims. There was not any rickrack, and I have been looking for some more rickrack. But there were not just trims, there were ribbons and all kinds of goodies in there. So never underestimate the craft section of your local thrift store or Goodwill. And the pricing of Goodwill has definitely gone up. There used to be things for 50 cents, 29 cents, and now there's really nothing under 99 cents. That's the biggest difference that I have seen. And then some other things that they find more value in, they're putting too high of a price on it. For me as a reseller, or even as a crafter, I would rather get things cheaper. But for things in the craft section, I've not been too disappointed in their prices. So a little inspiration there too. Head to your local thrift and for craft supplies if you need them. Okay, so here's another bit of Sweet Pea Curiosities, and I just used it to cover up a page I had already journaled on. Put some trim up here. This is a vintage fabric that I just turned into a ruffle. It's really soft. Some journaling I did here, and then here's the rust, that rust lacy trim that I just showed you. This was a bit of that book that said Easter eggs, and although I'm not ready for an Easter journal necessarily, I am trying to get ahead of myself with my reselling and have plenty of Easter things in my booth in town and online, so this was my little reminder to be thinking of Easter even though we're not quite there yet. This is more of Sweet Pea Curiosities. Isn't it gorgeous? It's like old wallpapers and old art papers that are collaged together on her files. Oh, one of my favorite spreads. Okay. So it is just craft paper and then that old antique paper, scrapbook paper that I did not Mod Podge. So this one is not that sturdy. I covered this side obviously with this kitty illustration that I love from an old little golden book. And then this is, of course, Mary Engelbright, a little cutout from a book I thrifted of hers. And then I found a great book on mushrooms, and I like to fussy cut them out, and their shape is often perfect for a little corner tuck spot. And then this is one of those cards that was in that old scrapbook, and it is an Easter one. I saved this one for me because I thought if I make more gingham journals that this would look really cute in there, but then I was like, I love it so much, I'm going to use it right now. So cute. And then there's this note on the back, and it was dated 1948. Dear Hazel. So that's from the Hazel estate. And I just love how that turned out. One of my craft store die cut finds. I really like that vintage stuff, and I journaled on the back a little bit. Some old stickers I had and some that my sister-in-law sent. An old Raggedy Ann book that I have, and I just put some stickers and scraps around it. This is a cutout from 1950s book on nature. This little turtle guy. Turn this light off again. This one I would consider not finished. This side probably finished because I don't want to cover this fun couple and the left-handed safety pin. I thought that was so cute for wee crafty folks. And then this is not an old book, but I did Coffee Diet after I dropped it in the bathtub. And it's, I'll probably cover this with something that I can write on. Okay, so this side I covered it with bits and pieces that I wrote on, and then I covered it with more bits and pieces to hide a bit of the writing. And I didn't put a lot of actual junk on the pages. I mean, it's all junk, right? Everything in here. But of new junk and not maybe vintage junk. This is something I'm addicted to lately, is this pineapple salsa and golden grams. And lately it's been hard for me to eat a lot of things or smell certain things. I don't know if it's like a perimenopause or woman thing. I don't know what it is, but I have always been a picky eater, and lately it's really picky. And these two things have brought me joy in the food department lately. This is from that 1950s magazine again. Some more journaling that I've kind of collaged in and then hid with different papers and some washi tape. And then this I loved too. This was I had 3 tags from something that we had, I think it was boots. My husband had to get boots for work, and the tags were really significant. And so I put them in, and they were cool even when you could just see, that they were junk tags. But then I covered them with the beautiful Sweet Pea Curiosities paper, which is this one and this one. And then this is just craft paper and a scrap of newspaper. The Sweet Pea Curiosities, these two I printed on. I found a big pack at Goodwill of some, it's called resume paper, and it's ivory colored, and it's got the like pinstriping in it. So you can kind of, it's like a rougher grain, but the Sweet Pea Curiosity stuff prints really, really nice on it. The color is deeper because it's on that ivory paper, I guess. But then like this blue one is on my photo paper, which is rather shiny. It's shinier than I thought it would be. But I guess right here, I just wanted to show you how beautifully they print on a couple different kinds of papers. This one is a bright white paper that is like a photo grade. No, not photo like you would print a photo from your camera, but it's like, it's not just your plain white printer paper. I don't use it very often, unless I know I'm printing this stuff, but I'd rather print on the resume paper. I just only thrift that, and I don't have very much of it. But also, I then distress them. So if you don't have paper other than the super cheap printer paper, they still print beautifully, and you can, distress them to enhance the colors. That stuff I was showing you from Artsy Fartsy Life, this is just on regular cheap printer paper, whatever is the cheapest. That's what was in my machine. And then because I collage on the back of it and Mod Podge it, the structure is quite significant, and the glue brings out colors. And the only thing would be sometimes, on some printers you can see maybe some fading from certain colors in the printer, but I never really care about that because it gives it character. I will probably write on this bit of page, and then this is a flip out page. This is another one in Sweet Pea Curiosities. This is why I bought that digifile. Like I said, I don't do that very often, but this made it worth it to me. I just love this picture. And I don't know where she got it. I've not tried to identify it or anything. I just absolutely went gaga for it. And it's a whole page that she has set up to be like 4 quadrants of the page so that you can turn it easily into a two pages or 4 pages like I kind of ended up doing. But I could tell that she took the time to make it usable that way. But it doesn't matter either. You could fussy cut out some of the images, or you could just keep it as background and put another piece of, scrap paper over it to write on and just have that as a backdrop. I don't know. I just absolutely loved these images. And I love that there's dogs and there's usually other animals in there. Just love it. So this is a page I won't do anything else to, but I did have it fold out. And then this is another one of hers. And here's some of that Tim Holtz scrap and some more of hers. I don't think this was the pink files, but now I can't remember. The old papers. I don't think I decoupaged this. I just glued them all on randomly. And so it's still easily writable. But I love how the collage looks, so I probably won't write on there. This piece of base was a cash gift envelope from Christmas. It actually, you could still kind of see that it like folded over like this, and then there was a window in the like little pocket part. So I just tore a window through the paper that I put on top and made it a little pocket that I've not really put anything in, but I was thinking of something I'd like to put in there, which is this very nice note from my dear friend Chris Marr, who I have met through this wonderful YouTube. She sent a very sweet card. That's from her. Thank you, Chris Marr. And a little shout out to you. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And yeah, hi, and thank you. So that's going to go in there. Did I try it sideways? I probably glued it down some. Oh, there. Yeah, I thought it would fit in there perfectly in her little envelope. And I love, this is that artist, Kate Greenaway. I love her art. I have some books that have her art in it, but not very much of it, so I definitely hoard that. So I loved when I saw that little card come through. It's like you knew that I would love it. You were right. Some Valentine's Day paper that my sister-in-law sent, and this is another of the little triangles I was telling you about from this quilted cover. That it was the only one that was left in that particular size. So I thought something I would play with is doing the little fabric houses on this page that lots of junk journalers and other artists are doing. So I just glued it down quickly. One of my favorite trims, which I thought went well with the colors. So my layering effect that I like to do. And then some more of our Sweet Pea Curiosities. Oh, and she's got the plates and covers of some old books And I'm remembering now that I learned who has the actual books. And I can't remember their name now, but anyway, I saw their post and I was like, oh my gosh, are those the real thing? And they are. But these images are glorious. And this is just a tea-dyed paper. This is a collage paper. Oh, darn it. It was a freebie. And I don't remember who made it. Oh, pardon me. Wait. I'll have to look that up. Let me know if you want to know, and I will find it for you. But it was another freebie that one of our favorite artists put out. Oh, darn it. Why am I so terrible about remembering that stuff? Oh, here's a little bit of that Tim Holtz aged tape. I thought that was cute there. Little image that my sister-in-law sent me. This is a pocket. What else do I have that I was going to put in there? Something little I had that I can't find now, but here's this little fruit digital that I'll put in there that I think is from... I'm not even going to say because I don't remember. Ink and paper. Darn it. I have to get better at that. Another image that my sister-in-law sent me. This was another of those Christmas money envelopes that I've not finished yet. I started collaging and making, it'll be a similar pocket to that other one. This was another reason I loved that Sweet Pea Curiosities so much. I'm sorry to keep talking about it. I'm not sorry. I love it. This was a little scrap that my sister-in-law sent me, and I don't know if she drew these and made a copy of it for me. I think she might have. And this little face here, I colored it in, so you can't really tell now, but that was from my sister-in-law. This is just the cellophane packaging from something that I bought, and then a little thank you card from my mail lady. So sweet. This is from an old landscape design book of mine. I coffee dyed the paper, and I love to remember the drawing aspects. This was a whole page of it, and then I took out, this is scrapbook paper by someone. I thrifted a book of it. What is her name? Hold on. I feel really badly when I can't remember that. I want to give credit where credit is due, but I know that not everybody cares or needs to remember, because you're going to find your own scrapbook paper. But this was at Goodwill. This book was $2.99. See, that's a really good price for this. I don't think it was completely all 48 pages, or like a couple of them were cut in half. But that's an amazing bunch of paper. And I love this. American Crafts. I thought it had an artist that did this. Okay, maybe not. Oh, Dear Lizzie. I should remember that. Oh my gosh. I'm Lizzie. This is not me. Dear Lizzie plus American Crafts. So she must have, this must be her collection. And this is the scrapbook page that I just cut the houses out of and put on this landscape design. And then this was like a little, you know how in craft book paper pads there's like a page that has little cards, or you know, pieces you can cut into smaller bits, and it was on this one. So I put that there, and this was from a different paper pack that my mother-in-law gave me. Some washi and some tissue paper that my mom sent my birthday gift with. I love it. Life is better with a pet. It's true. This was a bag from some medicine for my dog. And the sympathy card is actually from when my dad passed away in 2014. And if you have watched me before, you know a little bit about my story, maybe. How I got started in junk journaling was I learned that it was a way to take old things like that, cards that people sent for sympathy, you know, things you weren't quite ready to toss, but also were just sitting in a box in a closet or basement, you know, and they had traveled with us from a couple of different houses, and I was just looking for something to do with that stuff, and junk journaling had recently come into my mind, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I have made lots of journal spreads out of pieces of cards that I had kept and memorabilia that is no longer in the back of a closet doing nothing. They have been put into my books, and some images have been put into, you know, books that I've sold too. I just am so happy to have found another use for them, because for some reason, sentimentally, tossing them was not something I could bring myself to do. But cutting into them to give them a new life didn't bother me for some reason. So in this particular instance, our dog passed away in January. And so it made sense to put the card next to a bag from his vet. And then this little ruffle is from, it was a little girl's dress actually that was all tattered at the Goodwill outlet bins. And I just made it into a little ruffle. Craft paper, I can still do some journaling here. This is a piece of like upholstery, or not upholstery fabric, but like outdoor pillow fabric that actually has tulips on it. I thrifted it from Goodwill when Goodwill had a bunch of fabrics. They don't seem to have a lot of fabrics anymore, but I cut out the bits of tulip that you could tell was tulip, and I'm using it in another project. So this was kind of the offcut from that, but I thought I could do a little fabric collage on here. That's my plan. I don't know what the base of this was. Oh, it's still part of that card. I loved this advertisement. The new form fit underlook. Ugh. I'm so glad that I don't wear those. The new outer look begins with the underlook. Ugh, that disturbs me. February 1953, the Form Fit Company, Chicago and New York. Life bras from $1.25, Life girdles from $7.50. Oof, that'd be nice today, wouldn't it? Girls, if you are watching this and you are a lady, just know this type of advertising and this type of clothing changed how our society views the female body, and I don't like it. So I kept this as memorabilia and a reminder. This doesn't have to be me. It was something they did in the 50s, and I personally think it was not right. Sometimes it looks beautiful, and it does look nice to have a nice slim-fitting dress like this, but we don't need it. Just saying. There's my little soapbox. Okay, over here I made a little pocket. Let's see, this was a really old book on die cutting, like metal cutting, I think, not die cutting like we know them. Okay, this is definitely from the pink mixed media art papers that Sweet Pea Curiosities did. Oh, can you see that? And then this is from an old children's book, and really beat up children's book. And I loved things that it said on it. Porridge was one of the words. Queer pot. Frightened people. This was the, index. Fairy cones. There's your fairy cones. Beautiful window. Rose sky. I just loved that. Turkey goose. So anyway, I just folded that over and made it into a little pocket because I was watching Recrafted by Carol was doing more book page pocket ideas. There's lots of people who do it. Joey DeFee does it, and it's wonderful. And several of our artist friends do it. But I just happened to be watching Carol on Recrafted by Carol, and while I was making that one, just a bit of craft paper that I can write on. Oh, I did write on the side. I'm so tired. And some other, oh, this was funny. So this is just a little sheet that comes with little collage papers that you might buy retail. And I had not decoupaged it, but glued it to a book page early in my days, where I only had like one book that I was using to tear apart into new projects. And I didn't realize it, but a bunch of stuff that I made at that time were pages from this book that the storyline at this particular moment was rather scandalous and risque. So then a lot of times we put these things together and we're not really looking for what it says on the paper, but I am a word person and I'm a reader, so I have a tendency to still read things, even though I know that's not always part of the art. It is funny in our particular hobby when we put together something and the words that end up on the, whatever we cut out are funny or apropos. And anyway, it was really funny when I had turned this over and I read what the storyline was, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't put that in a book that I sell. Thank goodness I read it. I don't remember what was happening. I'm sure it was some scandalous romantic moment. But anyway, so it's in my book, and then I used this linen matte paint, matte finish linen color premium acrylic paint by Folk Art. I think I just got this at Walmart here in the US, and I will often just paint over pages. You'll see further in this book that I've done that several times. And then you can write on it. And if you mix the paint with something called gesso, here's my gesso, clear gesso. This is from the Crafters Workshop, craftersworkshop.com. This is a really nice matte translucent gesso. A lot of way better artists than myself use this to cover something like this so that you can still write or draw or paint on it. And so in some of the pages I experimented a little bit of mixing the gesso with the linen color to make a nice writable base. But so that's still a journaling card there. This was another, how do you say that? Toile pattern that she has in that digital file. Super pretty. This is also from her digital file, the pink mixed media artists pages. I love to sketch and draw, and so to get this old image was just really special to me. Might have been why I bought the pink file, was this page in particular. So I thought that was cool. I don't remember the age of this book, but this is that. I think it's the same children's book that this came from, but it's not as beat up. But I'll use the text part of the pages in collages and then use the images for things like I don't know if I made this one in a pocket because this paper was really brittle. So it's just collaged on there, but I could still write something here. Excuse me. Oh, look at that. This is definitely on that resume paper, I can tell, because it's a little more matte finish and it's got like a little texture to it. It just prints so beautifully. This was just a scrap of fabric that I had, and I could have made it a pocket, but I don't know, I was lazy and I just turned it into this little ruffly page with glue. And it feels like I used Fabri-Tac because that's not going to move. I mean, I could try hard and peel it, but this section here looks unfinished to me. Sometimes the white, bright white is what I'm trying to cover in my books. It's like my little mission. There's no reason for it other than that's what I'm aiming to do, is to redress a piece of paper. But I could definitely still just write on this as it is. And not do anything else. Just wanted to share that if you're wondering how I use these. This is from her pink collection, and it was just hard for me to decide what part of this particular page in her file I loved more than another. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to put the whole page in there. And now, of course, I don't want to do any art on top of it because I love it so much. But just to show you, if you wanted to use a digital file this way, certainly a piece of paper cut out and put onto a page like this, it makes a beautiful frame or backdrop for anything that you'd want to be able to write on or draw on. But this is writable. I mean, I could write right on here too. And I have before. I just love it. I think it's so beautiful. And it's got like the dirty book, like fibers even. This like old sticker. Oh, I just love it so much. That made a good sound, didn't it? Okay, so this collage I did decoupage. Oh, and that is because this is very old, 1916 newspaper. A newspaper from a place in Wyoming, I think. It was called the Anaconda from 1916. And it's taken me a long time to be willing to really cut into it. But this book, something's going on in my mind that I've just been willing to use all my stuff. Like I just want to use it all because I love it and I'm tired of hoarding everything. So yeah, this was a cool advertisement. And so I wanted to use the glue to see, because it's this really old paper that just falls apart. And you can still see that it's going to tear pretty easily, but not as easily as it does without the glue on it. There, I'm going to totally ruin it for you on video here. But then I also took bits of it and decoupaged it into the rest of my collage. And that will help keep it. And you can tell that it's like a really thick consistency here. So it's not easy to break or anything. Some of that old children's book index pages. Gruff Bridge Troll, I liked that. Squeak Shut Eyes, Trip Trap. Drumkin. Tumpa Tumtu. That's funny, I didn't even notice that one before. Anyway, and then these little guys are from another book that I have from the early 1900s. The artist is Johnny Gruelle, and he did a lot of the old Raggedy Ann art. Raggedy Ann and Andy. Oh, this is a big book, isn't it? This is Johnny Gruelle too. And he has a lot of, in those old Raggedy Ann and Andy books, there's lots of little fairies and little gnomes and little forest creatures and stuff. The stories are really wild, and I don't know that I remember that from my childhood, but when I get a hold of these really old ones, I'm learning that. And these were just these tiny little characters. This is that, I think it's the 50s, the 30s or the 50s book again. I just love that old art. This was a magazine that I had on healthy living, and I liked some of the art, and just where there was like a paragraph of text that I didn't want to see, I used scraps from that digital file or any scrap that I had, and I just covered up the parts I didn't really want to see. I wish I had made this into pockets, but I just glued it down. And this is like still a little too flimsy for me, so I don't know if I will find a way to make it a little stronger, but it doesn't really matter. I'm probably not going to do anything else on those pages in particular. 1950s nature book again with the koalas, and so shout out to any of my friends from Australia who might be watching. I just love you. And oh, here's one of those masterboard offcuts that I've used down here, and that was to strengthen the page a little bit, because they become so hard when they're decoupaged like that they can help strengthen a book page. And some trim that someone had sent me in Happy Mail. This was part of the box of a Dungeons and Dragons gift that my son got for Christmas, and I love to make those pieces into tabs for pages. I'm going to write here probably. Here's another little pocket that I made, and another of those Tim Holtz scrap sheets, but I haven't collaged on the back yet. And then some of the pink trees from the digital file Pink Artist pages. This old book page just had some text on it, which is why I was willing to cover it all together, but I thought it was funny that the story was called Funny Face, and then there was this cute little funny face that said, "Please pass the cake." I thought that was cute. This is like a card that came with an old Stampin' Up like kit, I guess. I thrifted it from Goodwill. And that makes for a nice tip-in or page, because it's not as sturdy as like a postcard necessarily, but it's a little sturdier than an index card and a little bigger. And then I did a book page pocket again with a little fun sticker my sister-in-law sent. Here was a business card from an art show that I went to. And a random offcut. I must have liked that one. Same plane. It doesn't mean anything. Some scrapbook paper that my sister-in-law sent. Some little cuties on there. Oh, here's some of that Goodwill trim. I loved the little teeny tiny pom-poms. I thought that was so cute. And the colors worked with my colors for the year of teal and peach. Here is a bright white page that needs some work, doesn't it? Or maybe not. I could just write on it. Oh, here was something I wanted to talk about. If you've seen my videos, I did a tape hinge that's how I put my pages together in most of my books lately, but I still do pamphlet stitching as well. But I tape all of my pages together, and I was worried about doing it that way because I was afraid the tape would be noticeable. But this book was a good way for me to experiment with ways to hide the tape. I mean, it is very hard to see the tape in most of these pages. You can cover it with things. You can even you could just glue paper down to become your hinge. It's just messier than tape for me. But that's a really pretty way to hinge your pages together, is with different papers. Here you can see the tape pretty good. I could do something. You can draw on it or paint on it to change the color scheme so that it's less noticeable. And the reason I like to tape hinge is because I like full page spreads of a lot of the especially book pages and images that I use, and I don't have a really good example right here because I've covered every page. Well, here, the magazine page. Hi, Dorito. Ah, this is usually my sign that it's time to shut down the electronics. Hi. Oh, thank you, honey. Thank you. But I do want to finish this video. I know it's going on and on. I just keep talking. Whoops. Come on. Let's get down. Oh, sweet kitty. I love you. Here you go. You could just sit with me right here. You can help tell the story. So anyway, I like, if I had pamphlet stitched, then the middle page of a pamphlet stitch book is, the middle of the book is the only time that you really get a good, full, two-sided spread. No. And I like to have lots of these spreads within my book. And if you tape hinge them like this, you can have as many as you want. Let's see if I have another one coming up here. Hi. Oh, this one, when I get to this visitor's guide, this will show you another example of it. But before I get there, here was more of that Goodwill trim over here in the light pastel rainbow. Oh, come on. I know, honey. I know. I'm almost done. If you saw one of my last thrift haul videos, my sister and my niece went thrifting, and they sent me a big box of deliciousness. And they sent me a bunch of these old photos, which I wasn't sure how I would use them. But, you know, I'm determined to use every little bit that I get. Come on, little kitty. I know. Gavin! Whoops. Gav? Sorry, one moment. Oh, he must have his headset on. Anyway, I just kind of ripped it and turned it into a pocket like this. Hi, Gavy, can you entertain the kitty and possibly put food in their dishes? I think he might be asking for food. I like to think that he just wants to love on me, but I think he's begging for food. Anyway, so I just ripped it and turned it into a pocket. On this page, which is a rather brittle piece of paper, I should probably do something. Oh, I loved that this was polar bears right after the polar bears paper that I had. This story, I forget what this story is called. The original story in the Magic Garden of the My Book House series. But this story is essentially the... what's that movie, that Disney movie, Let It Go, Let It Go, you know, the Princess Sisters, Elsa and Anna. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm not remembering that. But anyway, this is the original, I think it's the original story of the snow, it might have been called The Snow Queen. Anyway, I thought that was cool to look through those very old, early 1900 books and find the stories that inspired Disney to turn them into something else. This was an old photo from the Hazel Estate, Geraldine, and I did write the date because it was written 1947. And I just had a little piece of fabric salvage that I attached to it. And then this, I made a little tiny notebook of just some scraps. It's a good way to use up some scrap pieces. Make little notes on it when I can, with a collage offcut on the back there and some fabric. Okay, so this is actually, the Milwaukee Art Museum is where my husband proposed to me, which was back in 2005. And 2005? Yeah, 2005. 21 years ago that he proposed. And I've kept this brochure ever since. And here's another example of the things that I would keep in a, a shoebox in the back of a closet, or in a junk drawer, and never know what to do with. And so here I've left the cover because I want to remember that, and because the Milwaukee Art Museum, if you're not from here or you've never been here, it is very cool architecture. And the outside of it, this part of it, I forget what they call it, but during certain times of the day, they actually do an opening and a closing of it, and it's like a butterfly wing, or butterfly wings opening and closing. I mean, it's incredible, and I wish I could tell you more about it. The artist and everything, which I cannot remember the name of now. But this is how I used the brochure. I did some journaling here. I kept this page as the original, and then I did the painting in gesso on this page so that I could write on there. And then I left some of the artwork not painted over. And I thought that was fun. And I kept the map part of it too, because actually he proposed to me. We were out in the park because I wanted to see the opening and the closing of the butterfly wings. And so we were sitting out here waiting for it to happen, and it ended up being too cold of a wintry, blustery day, so they didn't do it, but he still proposed. It was very funny. So I've got some writing space there, and then I just collaged some scraps there, some fun ones, some fabric. And so then, this would open like this too, if you wanted to use it that way somehow. So that's another example of how taping to hinge your papers gives you more opportunity to have. That's funny how it opens and closes like the pavilion does. I crack myself up. Anyway, by tape hinging, you can have a big piece of paper like that in there. And then we're getting to the part of the book that I don't have a lot done on. I did another, this was the collage offcut, but there was a triangle of it, and I just made it into a little tuck spot for some goodies that I got from my friend Chris Morgan. Fun little image. And then this is parchment paper, and I have all of this of it, but I've not done anything yet because I'm not sure. I should probably collage on it, but it is hard to get things to stick to it. So I wanted to have good images behind it, but even then you have to try hard to see the images behind it. So I'll have to play with that some more. And on this page, I found these giant paper clips at Goodwill. In the they have a wall of bagged stuff, and a bunch of these were hidden in a bag with some other stuff that I didn't care much about, but I wanted these. And I did tape this old player piano paper to this side, and it actually is like a sheet like that, so it could be like a note page, but it's not yet strong enough. It's still too flimsy, and this still curves too much. So I want to come up with something strong for here that I'll just glue on. And then I want to decoupage one of my old grocery receipts. These are from 1906, 1907, and 1908. But several of them didn't have the date written on them. I know they're from the same time because the handwriting is the same, and they're in a big group of that same date range. I have them for sale on my Etsy shop, but I am not putting the undated unofficially dated ones in the packs that I sell. So I keep those for me and use those in my crafts. I know when they were from. But they're so cool. Let's see, what does this one say? I don't know what that says. It looks like it says Bull Blue, and I don't know what that is. Maybe like a blue ball jar for 5 cents? I don't know. And this one, BD Corn, maybe? One something for 10 cents. It is really cool to see the old prices of things at this grocery store. I don't know what all this edition is, but let's see if I can show you some of the packs that I have. And they do curve up like this, which I don't mind as long as I decoupage them to things. But I am, the ones I want to sell, I am holding together, usually with a piece of cardboard and then these paper clips to help straighten them. But they will curve like this probably still a little bit. But let's see, 1906. I don't know what that probably, oil, 12 cents. Onions, 4 cents. Sugar, 24 cents. Salt, 10. Cheese, 19 cents. What's that one from? 1907. So these were from Cardington, Ohio. I found them in an antique store that my in-laws took me to last summer when we were visiting. So cool. And I have a lot of them. Like I said, I've gone through, and in each pack, they're mostly all this C.P. Farrington name, but then some are this Kirkpatrick and Rormond. I think it was Kirkpatrick and Rormond groceries, staple and fancy groceries. The earlier receipts are this name. But then later in 06 and into 07, it changes to C&P Farrington. But they were all together, so I'm guessing, it changed hands at some point during those years. But they're really cool. I have tons of them. Not tons. I've separated them into packs of 10, and they are, on Etsy, they are $8 for a pack of 10. And I mix in, I try to get a Kirkpatrick and Rormond in each pack, at least one. Most of them, like I said, are the C&P Farrington. So I try to mix one of these in, and I try to mix in some that are written in pencil, some that are written in black pen, and some that are written in blue ink. Hi. Gav? Did you feed him? I think that was a no. Are you just going to sit here with me? Thank you. Let's see if I can show you some of the other. There's the blue ink, 1907. That is more pencil, and then some is black ink, usually mixed in. There's blue ink again. I think it looks cool. And they have most of them show a sign of the hole in the middle, like they had been put on one of those old, peg stands. And I just love that for house accounts, because people would buy their groceries on house accounts. I'm actually old enough to have worked at a pharmacy when I was young, where we still did house accounts. People didn't use credit cards very often at all. And we would do a house account and send an invoice to the family at the end of every month, and often they didn't pay it. And so it's probably why that sort of thing doesn't exist anymore. But I thought it was cool to find these old receipts. And so I will decoupage that to this player piano paper. Maybe I'll put like a backdrop to it too, of like craft paper or old book paper that has like a good color to it. I like on the player piano paper, it has these blue dots and then the occasional writing. There's not a lot on some of the bits that I've kept for me, but I think they're so cool. And these, you know, the merchandisers at Goodwill have been watching our videos about junk journaling, because you can find this kind of stuff at Goodwill way more often than you used to. And I recently found, I think they were for $1.99, tons of old boxes of player piano paper. Say that 10 times fast. I have one that is West Side Story and one that I can't reach from here or read from here. But anyway, you can get them at Goodwill now. The color is cool. The ink is cool if you can get them where they show the words. It's awesome. You just have to unroll it to that point where it's really cool. That is a great way to use something that's not, you know, used very often anymore in the world. There are some collectors, but for the most part, those are going to go in the landfill if Goodwill can't resell them. So that's my plan for that section there. And then I collaged some more bits and turned this one into a pocket. So I did Mod Podge the front of this image to make it stronger so it wasn't brittle to use as a pocket. And then I just put some more goodies in here from some Happy Mail and from my craft store extravaganza. This is that old newspaper again. Okay, and now here is where I can start to feel that my spine, or how I attached my cover, doesn't totally work. It does work because this is not going anywhere, but it doesn't look aesthetically wonderful. But these were the pages that I did some more. I thought I mixed gesso with the paint, but maybe I just did paint on this. But anyway, I'll still write, or I will sketch on here, which I go through phases where I don't want to sketch at all, and then there's phases where that's the only thing I can do to get my mind unstuck is sketch something, like freehand someone else's art. That's one of my really good tricks for getting unstuck. I just covered that page too. That one's smoother, so I wonder if that's, I can't remember which one. Like maybe one I did gesso on and one I didn't. This is rougher. I don't know. I wish I could tell you, but this was just like a marker page. This is an old Norman Rockwell image that I fussy cut out, and then I put it on this newspaper that was, I bought something at a Salvation Army like a month ago, and they had wrapped one of the fragile things that I got in this newspaper, and one of the pages was this thing about the groundhog, and I thought it was so cool. This is one of those classic images, and I was just going to cut the image out, but then I was like, you know what, this is a great thing to keep if anyone doesn't get rid of my journals. This would be something that someone might look back on and be like, you know, the history of Groundhog Day. But I cut the date off a little bit there. Oh, but it is on the other side. So January 30th, 2026. Anyway, I thought that was fun. And that was actually one of the first pages I started with for this book. And newspaper, newer newspaper is really thin. So I did this large image on this side because this particular book, it's like a thick paper, so that helped strengthen that side, but I haven't done anything to this side yet. Here was another scrap of that old hanky that I just covered this side with, and I'll do something here. And then I was thinking I would do those off-cut masterboard pieces around as the trim, and that would help strengthen it too. Oh, I guess I did, this side was the obits, and I loved that Zlata Podlipnik passed away on January 28th, 2026. She was born in 1934. And I was reading about her story, and I just thought, I don't want to cover that up. She was born in Serbia, where her father was stationed as the head of the regional gendarmerie for the King of Yugoslavia. Her parents, however, originated from Slovenia. For much of her young life, Zlata endured the pain and agony of World War II, during which time she lost her father at the hands of the Nazis. After the war, she finished school in Slovenia, married Victor, and gave birth to her beloved son, Janko. Oh, that. In 1957, she moved to the U.S., where she worked as a bookkeeper at Kenosha National Bank and did housework on the side. She then met a doctor who became her partner for 48 years until his passing. I don't know what happened to Victor. They had one child together. Oh, another doctor. Zlata was a fantastic cook, consummate keeper of the home and family, whilst also owning and managing rental properties. She enjoyed gardening, traveling around the globe, socializing, and was an animal lover. So I didn't want to cover that up. Whoever died over here, I guess I was willing to cover up. Sorry, dude. I put this cool paper here that my sister-in-law sent me. I did make it a pocket, but because the newspaper is not strong enough, it doesn't hold anything very well yet. So until I can find a way to strengthen it, I don't think this pocket is all that wise. I might just have to glue it down completely. I just put one of my tarot cards in there. And then over here, I've not done anything. This is from a Kleenex box. And then more from the pink papers. This is just some cheap scrapbook paper. This little edge here, but then this is from Sweet Pea Curiosities, and I think it's so beautiful. So I have to find a way to continue to strengthen the back of it. I don't know if I'll do anything on the back of this because I'm a very tactile person. I love the sound of this and the feel of it. And so I don't really think I want to mess with it. And I loved how the spine looked. So I probably won't do anything else to the cover of this one. If I were selling it, I might. But, you know, just so that it doesn't look so shabby as shipping paper here. But maybe people would want that. Let me know. I mean, obviously I would make this nicer, but anyway, that is that one. This turned out to be a super long video again because I can't stop myself. What are we at? Oh my gosh, you guys, almost 2 hours. An hour and 45 minutes we've been talking. I don't mind. I hope you don't mind. I hope you hang out for all of it, or, you know, come back to me when you have the time. Because I'm just really glad that you're here. I love sharing this with you. I welcome and want any comments that you can have, questions. Someone has asked for another tutorial of the quilted covers, so I will be working on that. And dun dun dun, I have another bin of greeting card journals that I have been working on, and I loved the ones I did before, but this new group is, I love even more or just as much, and I can't wait to show those to you. So I will be doing another digging for journals video I liken it to bobbing for apples, so I don't know if I should call it bobbing for journals or digging for journals. Let me know if you have an opinion about that title. And let's see, here is a sneak peek. This is another little boy journal that I'm working on, and I'm going to do a fabric quilted cover for. These you might have seen already. They're on my Etsy shop. I think I had them too expensive, so I brought the price down to $12 each. And I'll do the flip through in the Digging for Journals video. And this one's already on my Etsy shop too, and I did a flip through, and I'll do another flip through if you want. I call it the sunflower, but I didn't put more pictures on Etsy yet. I guess I just forgot. So I pulled this one out so I can put more pictures on the shop for you. These two are on Etsy. I'll do a full flip through in the video. And then this is a brand new mini that I just finished today. And I did that cute duckling fabric as the spine. So that, oops, that is a junk mini that we'll do a flip through. This greeting card, I've already sewn these two pieces of fabric together, and then I'm going to attach them and cut it to size for you in the video. But then they are full of delicious, really delicious, eclectic papers. These are the wallet size greeting card ones. I will flip through those for you. There's 2 of those so far, but I have lots in the making. I've gotten a hold of some really great vintage greeting cards that I will, I'll have more of in here. Look at this mini. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this cover is part of that Artsy Fartsy Life dog digital file that she has, and the way they were on her sheet, they were so cute when I put them together that I just made it into a cover of this tape hinged, wonderful little journal. That one will be on there. This one I already did a flip through, but I can do again. I never ended up putting it on my Etsy shop. It'll be $5, and it is made out of those you get a floral arrangement that's made out of paper. So I've made it into a journal. And then this one is really pretty too. Lots of wonderful papers in these, and pockets, and fun stuff to see. So this will be part of it plus more when I do that bobbing for journals, digging in the bucket video for you of flip throughs. And the dogs, yeah, if you think they're cute just as they are, there are pictures of them on Etsy. This is wallpaper border, 90s wallpaper border. This one even has a little charm I did. And the inside of these is all dog related for the most part. Well, that's a chicken and a lamb, but and a cat. Okay, so there's not a dog on that one. What a great what a great page to open up to, Liz. Oh, classic. Dogs, dogs, dogs. There's the dog. I knew that it must be on there. And so these are the pamphlet stitch type. And I'm going to put another little greeting card one together for you, and I will do the pamphlet stitch possibly in that video or in another one, so you can see that. The person who asked the question, I'd love to see how you put your signatures together, and so I'm not sure if that means how I choose the papers or how I put it actually, you know, how I put it together with the stitch or the taping. So I'll show you both just to cover all the bases. And I'm hoping to build this kids journal with a lot of the dog theme again with you, but I do have to get it done in time for a birthday party, so I might not be able to do it with you. Let me know if you want to see how it turns out. I'll do another flip through. That last one that I did was super fun, and the little boy loved it. Okay, I need to stop talking. Oh, and don't forget that I would love for you to help me choose which button to go for in the middle of this little quilted springtime vintage fabric quilted cover. So the blue fabric or the white satin button, or both. Let me know what you think. I think I'm leaning toward white, just so you know. But I'd love your feedback. Okay. I am so happy to have done this. I feel complete when I'm able to share this stuff. So thank you for tuning in, checking it out, and spending time with me. Thank you so much. I just truly, truly love you guys, and I love this hobby. So keep it going, keep coming back, and reach out to any of us with questions. Thank you again so much. Take care. Good night.